Thanks for coming. My name is Nicolas from H2O Innovation. I'm the Director of Engineering in Amnor. So today I'm going to do a presentation about, well, at the beginning I will give you some history because all of the things I will present to you has been done in my bush. So I've been doing some tests and that's what I'm going to explain you today. So just a little bit of history. The land was bought in 1998. It was a land never been tapped. We need to do everything, road access, mapping, and everything. We put tubing installation in 2008. So 3,800 taps. We put 9 main lines, 5 HP vacuum pump, and we had at this time a mechanical releaser. So this was the setup of our bush. So you've got mainline 1 to 9. That's coming to a pumping station right there. And after that, we have a pumping station that push the sap through the sugar house. So in 2016, we installed the Smartrek system. So we need to install 5 repeaters because our woods was far away from the sugar house. And we installed 4 single port and 3 double port vacuum sensor. And at that time, I was so motivated to get some data and see what's happening in the woods. So I took everything on Excel and it come up with this graph. So I was so confusing, too many lines, too many information. So was asking me how can I find something. So I decided during the season, I took the biggest day. Oh, sorry, again. Went too far. So, it's so slow. All right, so just to give you some, it doesn't work then? So just to give you the explanation of this graph, it's only one day. So the beginning of the day was freezing, so the pump was not working. So at 9:30, around 9:30, we start the pump. And all the vacuum, this is on the Y, it's the amount of pressure in the line, so in inch of mercury. So this line here, it's the temperature of the day. So, and all the other line is the each sensor that I've got installed. So, as you can see, when the temperature was at its highest point, all my pressure at the end of my main line was going down. You have any idea why? Not enough capacity. Too much tap on the same main line, diameter. So, because they are not real leak, because at the end of the day, the vacuum get back at its position. So it was only during like the peak of the day that the tubing system was not able to handle all the sap that was coming through. And I have to say that at the pumping station, we on the gauge, we were always reading 26. But with the sensor, I was like, okay, we have something wrong in our woods. We cannot have this, we cannot lose any vacuum in our tubing system. So I come up with this idea about my target, it's 26 inch. So I took the average of the whole season, the average of the pressure that I have in each main line. So I've got a pumping station, and each main line had its own graph. So what you see in blue, it's the average of the season. What you see in red, it's the loss that I have. So with that, I can see where I have my biggest issue is, like main line number 1, main line number 2, and main line number 8. There's something wrong. I cannot, the average was too low. but there's still something. So I remove a lot of like other lines just to be sure to see something, because when you have too many lines, you cannot find what's the mistake. And I took the both worst one, line 1, line 2, and we were able to see the same thing, like the vacuum drop at the biggest time of the day. But see the green one is at the pumping station. So I zoom in, and just to let you know, Smartrek system, you've got a reading each 6 or 7 seconds. So on the same day, it's between 22 and 26. There is a tendency that's go down, but I was wondering why I have all of those drop, went up, drop, went up. So any idea? Releaser. So I was surprised that like the mechanical releaser was having an impact on my average at the end of the season, because you're able to see that it's going down a little bit when it's dropped more frequently. So the average is going down again. So I was surprised about that. So I came up with, be sure that I'm able to validate that each year. So instead of having a loss in inch of mercury, I just calculate the mainline efficiency. So let's say I'm at pumping station, my target is 26, but I was averaging 25 point something. So my efficiency at the pumping station would be 96. So my worst link, line 1, 68.9%. So with those numbers, I come up with, there's a lot of information there, but what's important, so that year we made 4.4 pounds per tap. So we know like there is different research center, UVM, and in Quebec we have Centre too, that prove that each inch of mercury that you gain, you have 5% more sap, that you will harvest 5% more sap. So I took all the main line with the number of tap, and let's say main line number 1, I have an average of 17 inch of mercury. So my target is 26, so I have almost 8 inch of pressure of loss. So that means that I lost syrup, obviously. So what I did, so I just put a price of syrup, let's say $2.7 to $70 per pound. So I was able to calculate the loss. If everything was perfect in my wood, I'm able to calculate how my revenue, how many I lost in each main line. So at the end, I lost 4,000 pounds, and I lost like $11,000 of revenue. It's theoretic. It's not. It's when everything is perfect. So, and like the potential performance of the bush would be 5.5 pounds per tap. So we don't have a big operation. So each years we want to work on what's most important. So we decide to, well, at that time, we took only the 3 lines that was the worst performance. So, and only with those three lines, I lost 8,000 of revenue. So if I need to, it give us good information about like, do I need to pay for all those tubing and time and for the installation? So by losing 8,000, I can pay my tubing and everything, and I will still it will be positive instead of losing money, not losing money, but like spend money on all the tubing and not even know if I will have my money back. So with that thing, I was able to say, okay, if I put money this year, I'll be able to get my revenue back. And only with that, I will be at 5.1 pounds per tap. So it gives us some, it gives us the information where to work in our wood, instead of just, this line is not pretty good, I'm gonna change it. So instead of that, because before having that, we were supposed to switch mainline 6 and 7. And actually they they are not good enough, but it's not the worst one. So we decide at this time to work on those lines. But the year after, we had an opportunity to buy the land right beside of it. So we had 1,900 taps. So we did all the tubing installation. So we are only two. We didn't have enough time to modify everything that we want to modify. But the releaser, and I make a big difference between a releaser and an extractor. A releaser, it's the mechanical one, it's just release, it drop the sap in the tank. An extractor, you've got a pump that extract the sap from the extractor. So a releaser, mechanical releaser, was too small to have more of those taps, so we decided to just switch for an electrical extractor. And well, the line one was the worst one, so we need to do something. There were like too many taps on this main line, so we just decided to modify it. And as you can see, the red was the new part of the bush. So and everything goes back to the same pumping station. So we installed this extractor, and one good thing about extractor with pump, so you can sit it lower. So I don't know if you've seen the red on the wall. It was my entry with the mechanical releaser. So I can have more, give me some more space if I don't have a lot of slope. So all the extractors sit lower. So that year, same thing. I said I'm going to take a look on my graph to see if I see something different. So same thing here. The biggest day of the season, you've got in orange the temperature, and I compare my line one versus the pumping station, and I have no drop at all. So I'm like, okay, the extractor make a huge difference in my woods. So for a comparison, that was with the electrical extractor, and this was with the mechanical releaser. So it's not only at the end of the main line that I have some improvement. At the pumping station itself, my vacuum level is more stable. And there's, as I said, I've got a reading at each 6-7 seconds. So I was impressed that the extractor have done that in the bush. Yeah. So after that, we did other improvement. We switched our drop line. It was too short. New tees. We have tees with the molding line. So there's, I don't know if you're gonna see it right. We have a lot of micro leaks at 26 inches of pressure. It's not that much, but like we cannot go higher because with all of those micro leaks, we were having struggle with frozen line. So we remove everything that have a molding line in the fittings, and our saddle was kind of not the best one. So this is a big graph, but that's what I work with every year. So as I said, I'm taking each sensor on each main line at the pumping station, and I'm just calculating the percentage of efficiency. So because one year to the other, it's hard to compare. It's hard to know how many days of you've been. There's not even one season the same. So I want to make sure that I'm able to compare during the season and have something that I can compare with other seasons. So by this way, I always do the comparison with the pressure at the pumping station versus all the other sensor on each end of the main line. So in gray, it was at the beginning. So you can see here all the gray. It's way lower than all the other one. Just to give you an example, line 5. So I did nothing on this line. The only thing we made is switch for an extractor instead of a mechanical releaser. So I was at maybe 80, 80 and it come up over 90% of efficiency. So now the difference is around like 2 inches of mercury. So without doing anything, I just switched the extractor, and I was able to get an average higher than it was with the mechanical releaser. So after that, you can see too, in 2019, the improvement that I've made with switching from switching your saddle and your tees on the drop line. So because of the molding line, there's micro leaks everywhere. So just by removing that, you can see improvement too. But it was not that big compared to the extractor. So I make all of those fancy graphs, but you can still have this information directly on the tablets or in the web page. You can, we don't see a lot, but like I took all the data from the Smartrek system and put it in Excel, but it's possible to have access on all of those information directly with your Smartrek system. So it gives you great information. We don't see a lot, but this is from this year. Mainline number 2 and number 8, that was the one they already been modified. So we have good vacuum level, but I got some problem with line 4 and 5. Still have some drops. And so each time you're modifying something in your wood, you probably know, but the worst part move to a different place. So each year we're planning our work with Smartrek. We know that that's what guide us because we want to have the most pressure in our system. So each year when the season finish, I just check what was my worst average on different main lines. So I'll be working on those main line instead of doing everything because the woods is 15 years old. Like the tubing installation overall is 15 years old, and we don't want to spend all the money doing all at the same time. So we're just year per year we're modifying the worst part of the wood installation. That's it. Any question? Comments?
Have you replaced any of your 5/16 tubing in these woods?
5/16, no, have not been changed, but yeah, it will be the next thing we're gonna do, like on different lines. Where we're thinking of changing the layout of 4 main lines. Because right now we are working on a slope that way, and all the main lines going down that way. It was installed 15 years ago, so we're gonna switch to the new part. We install it in a way that the slope, the 5/16 get the benefit of the slope instead of the main line. So that's how we're gonna install this part.
Do you have some monitors out front that we can see?
Monitors, you mean like?
Yeah, do you have your Smartrek system out front
Yep.
where we can see?
Yep. Yeah, it's right like on the corner that way. After the food,
Okay.
everything is there.
Yep.
So how many of you, I've got a good question, how many of you have an extractor with the electrical extractor? And I know that for the mechanical releaser, maybe in some remote area you need it, but if you have power, I highly suggest to just switch for an electrical extractor because the gain is so big. Yeah, and well, the mechanical releaser was supposed to be a continuous one. You've got a big tank and a smaller tank, and the vacuum was, as soon as this one was full to drop it, the vacuum was moving to the other tank, and it was supposed to be continuous continuous vacuum for this mechanical releaser, but as I was able to see in the graph, it's not. So for us, without modifying anything in the woods, the best gain was switching for an electrical releaser. So, yep. Any other question?
So for, what are the things that you see, what are some of the things that you see with the Smartrek monitoring system in your woods? Like when it freezes at night, do you lose vacuum in a well-operating mainline? Do you lose vacuum at the end of the line, or does it maintain vacuum?
It depends on the leak. Well, it's for frozen. You will lose it, but it will not drop fast like that because let's say you've got your main line, it's that long. Oh, no matter what. And the sensor is at the end, you freeze here, but when you're freezing, you still have some vacuum in this part. So the vacuum will go down slowly during the night. It will not be a drop like 26 to 0. It will take maybe, depending on how tight is that part of the woods, it can take like 3 to 4 hours to go down to 0.
Do you have some lines that maintain vacuum for days during freezing weather?
During freezing weather, it can last night, but not more than that. Yeah, we still have some improvement to do. Yep. That's it. If you have any question or comments, I'm here all day long, so don't hesitate to ask me some question. I'll be here for the day and tomorrow too. Thank you.